If you fly out of Charlotte today, you'll quickly notice that nearly every flight is operated by American. That's because Charlotte is what the airline world calls a fortress hub, where one airline dominates so much that it can shape an entire airport, the routes, and how you travel. But not every airport works this way. LAX, for example, has a lot of competition, which reduces fares and increases choices. Then there are other airports that punch well above their weight, like Doha or Reykjavik, where geography, long-haul connections, and modern aircraft make them crucial global stops despite their small population. While other airports like Dallas-Fort Worth were born out of necessity, since airports like Dallas-Love Field, which is near downtown Dallas, was constrained for growth since it was in a dense community. Fortress hubs, or airports where one airline dominates, are often the result of airline mergers and decades of investment. American Airlines inherited their hub in Charlotte after merging with US Airways, who had spent countless time and money developing terminals, a maintenance base, hangars, over 100 routes, and more. Atlanta, the world's busiest airport by passenger numbers, is similar. The airport competes for the same type of passenger, like one living in the Northeast trying to connect to Florida, though Atlanta takes it a step further through airline partnerships. Of Atlanta's nearly 20 international airlines, almost half of them serve Atlanta because Delta has a major hub there, where passengers can connect to countless destinations. And it's also because Delta is committed to the SkyTeam Alliance. If Delta was in the One World Alliance instead, it's likely that airlines like Japan Airlines, Finnair, or Iberia would be flying to Atlanta instead of airlines like Korean Air or even KLM. While some airports operate as both a fortress hub and an alliance hub simultaneously, like Amsterdam with KLM. KLM dominates the local market there. They have most of the flights in and out of Europe, but Delta has a lot of flights into the airport, taking advantage of KLM's vast network. You'll find similar setups elsewhere, like Heathrow, or at Paris-Charles de Gaulle Airport, or Frankfurt in Europe, or at Tokyo's Narita Airport. Frankfurt is one of the most connected airports in the world, not only thanks to Lufthansa's vast network, but to the countless Star Alliance airlines that serve the airport as well. But Frankfurt also punches above its weight due to premium demand, where the airport even has an exclusive terminal just for first-class passengers. While other airports, even if they do cater towards business travelers, aren't quite as lavish, such as London City Airport or New York's LaGuardia. That's because airports like these cater more towards local flights. London City Airport has a very short runway, meaning that aircraft bigger than an Airbus A318 or Airbus A220 can't take off there with a lot of fuel. But because these airports are in such good locations, demand far outseeds supply. So the network from London City largely caters towards business travelers, while if you go further south to Gatwick, you'll see a lot more people flying into and out of their holiday destinations. Aircraft type also varies by hub and is a key part of fleet strategy. Lufthansa only operates its Boeing 747s from its hub in Frankfurt, despite having a sizable operation in Munich, where they base their A350s. This helps balance demand while optimizing for things like crew scheduling and maintenance. But as a result, it can change the feel of an airport, where it impacts the design as well. LAX at one point, at its Tom Bradley International Terminal, built 9 gates for the A380, and at one point pretty much served more A380 airlines than any other in the world. Dubai, on the other hand, the undisputed A380 capital of the world, has nearly 50 A380 gates and an entire concourse that was built in the early 2010s that could handle as many as 20 A380s at the same time. But massive hub airports like these, Charlotte, Atlanta, Dubai, Heathrow, and many more, are often designed around connecting passengers. They are often bigger, meaning that people have to walk further between flights, and passengers possibly have to take shuttles or trains to reach their connecting flights. Though at some large airports like LAX, which has a lot of terminals, the opposite is true since it caters more towards local demand. Some airports are built around international demand, or domestic, or try to balance both. In Chicago, for example, Terminal 5 handles nearly all international arrivals but not departures. That's because United and American operate massive hubs out of other terminals where passengers can connect to domestic destinations. While in Europe, there are entire terminals dedicated to flights just flying between the EU due to passport control, such as in Frankfurt, where flights within the EU or the Schengen countries depart and arrive on the lower level, while all other flights depart and arrive on the upper level. While LAX is on the coast and has great geography for connecting to places across the Pacific and Hawaii, since Los Angeles lacks secondary airports for long-haul flights, all the airlines that operate into LAX, these international long-haul airlines, have to compete under one roof, which is in stark contrast to many major cities around the world like London, Paris, New York, or Tokyo, where there's at least one other airport offering long-haul flights. Smaller airports, or spokes as they're called in the industry, like Lansing, Michigan, rely on tightly coordinated departure and arrival times to match banks at hubs. And since airports like Detroit have many other flights coming in, like Green Bay or from Traverse City, for a few periods during the day, the airport becomes a beehive of activity. Some airports fall somewhere in between a hub and a spoke, like Austin, for example, where Delta has recently expanded. While Delta already serves all of its hubs from Austin, besides LaGuardia, due to the perimeter restrictions on that airport, they've started routes like Denver and San Francisco. This helps Delta diversify its network while taking advantage of Austin's growth. Other airports remain competitive, like Seattle, where Delta leverages its global brand and partnerships, while Alaska Airlines has a strong loyal following and a strong domestic network. Limited amounts of runways, noise restrictions, and curfews all limit and shape how airports are made. Eventually, routes, airlines, aircraft, and even terminals come and go, resulting in airports looking different and serving different purposes over time. Quite literally. Maybe I should use this counter, and maybe instead of cooking here, I should build a massive model airport, maybe some kind of fortress hub. Maybe that's, I should be doing that instead of YouTube.